With the release of Plankton the movie, SpongeBob movies have been on my mind lately. And while I could absolutely discuss the new Plankton movie, it was leaked last year after all, I have some things to discuss about it, which would get me a lot of views. Yeah, I also value having fun with my life, so let's discuss my favorite SpongeBob movie. To get everything out of the way, yes, the first SpongeBob movie is objectively the better film in terms of story pacing, characterization, and more. But dang it, I just like the second one more. I love the creativity. I love SpongeBob and Plankton's dynamic. I love the plot. I love the songs. I adore the animation. I even like the live action parts. Hell, I like the superhero stuff. I've seen this movie so many times, I can recount the movie script from memory. And one thing that downright fascinates me the most about this movie is how nearly every trailer features at least one scene that was cut from the final product. And unlike modern movies that create fake scenes or alter existing scenes to throw the viewer off or to keep spoilers secret, this movie just has so many deleted scenes that were intended to be in the film, but were either altered to be something else or just flat out cut. And they're not just from a previous story that had to be scrapped and started over again. This movie has scenes that could seamlessly be re-added into the film, and all you would risk is the movie being longer. If any movie deserves an extended edition, it's this one. So screw it, I wanted to discuss Sponge Out of Water for the longest time. Let's take a look at the many deleted / altered scenes from the movie. I would say every, but also I don't trust myself to be able to say with complete confidence that I talked about every deleted scene, and I do not want to be bombarded with people pointing out a singular scene I missed. For the sake of making sure everything flows together nicely, and also because I hate making lists, I decided to separate these deleted scenes into 3 sections. The first section we're looking at here are scenes that were fully animated, fully voiced, everything is looking good, but they were cut at the last second, usually due to pacing issues. This is where a lot of the scenes from the trailer come in. SpongeBob flying in the sky, Sourdough getting stuck by a 6-pack ring, some random lines from human characters, the ice cream cone Patrick lands on was originally going to have 3 scoops and be held by a woman, Burger Beard explaining that the secret formula is the final page to unlock the powers of the magic book, and others that probably exist. These are very short and mostly inconsequential. However, the magnum opus is, without a doubt,
Thank gosh it's Monday.
Thank gosh it's Monday. M-O-N-D-A-Y. M-O-N-D-A-Y. It's Monday. Thank gosh it's Monday.
Originally planned to be at the start of the film before being replaced with the more exposition-heavy opening we got, this is a song SpongeBob sings about how great Monday is, eventually getting the whole town involved. This song is peak. It's frankly peak. It's able to show off all the characters' personalities and dynamics to a new viewer seamlessly. There's a lot of energy in the performances. This is the most SpongeBob song a SpongeBob song could ever be. Oh, how I wish it was in the final movie. Fortunately, however, the song was repurposed to be part of the movie's marketing. This took form as them either trimming the song down to recreating the lyrics to be about the day of positivity. I remember watching this on my tablet and taking a piece of paper and tracing over SpongeBob and being in awe on how accurate he looked to the show's art style. A decade later, I'm able to draw SpongeBob without tracing art. That's something, right? For our second section, here we have alternate versions of scenes that were in the final movie. Before we discuss the first real one, I have to spotlight the fact that the iTunes release of this movie has a screenshot during the menu that features a card that was replaced in the final film. The setting is also different with them being at the postcard stand after the sugar high, however the poses the characters are making are from when they got knocked in front of the cotton candy machine. Even the menus have deleted scenes. This movie truly is the gift that keeps on giving. Anyway, first off, we have Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob in the kitchen with Krabs forcing SpongeBob to make a Krabby Patty without the formula, causing the townspeople to riot and chase him out of the Krusty Krab. I find this really unique because it takes place before SpongeBob meets Plankton, so I wonder how they would have handled that in this version of the film. This also features an alternate way of the town changing to be post-apocalyptic. There's actually 2 versions of this scene, one of them is just longer and has more gags. The funny gags, don't get me wrong, but they do curb stomp the momentum the scene had, so I can see why they try to make it more instant. We were also going to see Mr. Krabs brainwash SpongeBob in a flashback to explain why he doesn't remember how to make Krabby Patties. In the final film, they replaced it with
Curse you, fine friend!
When Mr. Krabs gets kicked by the kid, instead of landing on the cotton candy machine, originally he was to land in Slash's guitar case, to which SpongeBob and Squidward would need to pull him out due to him being infatuated by the money. The scene was actually in some of the trailers, though only a bit of it, so we don't see the abomination of pre-rendered SpongeBob. Thank Gosh It's Monday got its own alternate version as well. The first minute is mostly one-to-one with the final version minus some altered lyrics, However, in between Patrick's verse and the town parading, we get a whole nother verse, show tune style, as well as this banging guitar solo. The song also features most of the supporting cast with their own verses. Like, I don't think Larry even appears in the second movie apart from the credits. The animatic and rough voices really makes this in a way I can't describe. It's simply unhinged and I kinda adore it for that.
I don't recall SpongeBob ever giving you a choice.
The same guy who animated this also does an alternate version of the Teamwork song. Unlike Thank Gosh It's Monday, which is similar in lyrics and is more of an extended version, this one is completely different from the final song. There's definitely a vibe to this, but I actually prefer the other extended version of the Teamwork song. Yes, there are 3 versions of the Teamwork song. The gags are more creative. I would have loved to see this animated with the Schoolhouse Rock style the final song had. I really enjoyed seeing SpongeBob and Plankton actually work together and figure out time travel during the song. It shows off a side of SpongeBob we haven't actually seen of him before, and I think if they adjusted a few parts to work this verse back into the movie, it could have helped push Plankton's character arc of learning to work together with other people. I could see them maybe rescuing Karen and then resuming the song, or maybe they had rescued Karen before even realizing they could use time travel. This version of the song seems to be from a cut of the film when they wrote Karen out at the beginning. We'll be discussing that scene later. So it does look like the writers needed to adjust the film to re-add her in, which cost this extended song. We also have an alternate way this movie starts. Instead of being hit so hard he lands on the ship, he instead gets knocked into a table and decides to start reading the story to the Pelicans right then and there. This is definitely an interesting opening, and I do enjoy some aspects of it, like the huge X on the skeleton, though I think our final version was an overall improvement. Also, PS2 Burger Beard is peak. Finally, we have Sandy trying to rationalize the state of Bikini Bottom before she went insane. It's a very useless scene that just tells us everything we already know, and while the gag they replaced it with is dumber and a bit out of character for Sandy, I do think it's overall better for the movie. And now we move on to the final section of this triple Gooperberry sunrise. The scenes that are just full on deleted. They're not alternate versions of the scene that made into the final product, nor are they fully animated. The first one I wanted to bring up was a car chase that would have taken place after Spongy and Plankton gave Krabs the wrong bottle, but before the sacrifice. This car chase is actually pretty fun overall, though I feel like there could have been a few funnier gags. Also, I think the final film having Spongy offer himself as a sacrifice willingly was the better choice in the end. Here we have a bunch of time travel scenes that got cut. 2 of them are mostly similar gags with robots with laser eyes, and one of them would take them to the Masonic Age where they would meet a Patricksaurus and a Squidosaurus Rex. The Squidosaurus Rex comes out of nowhere in the final movie, and the Patricksaurus was reused in the tie-in video game SpongeBob Hero Pants. We get a flashback to Burger Beard's childhood, giving him a backstory complete with unrendered pelicans. This actually works really well at giving Burger Beard a better arc. Rewatching the movie as an adult, god that's weird to say, made me realize that they didn't actually give Burger Beard a motive other than he wants a successful food truck. We don't even know if the burgers he made before the Krabby Patty were nasty, so why would he need to steal another person's formula? I'm honestly kinda sad this was ultimately scrapped. Its placement is mostly natural, though if it was me, I would have put it after the King of Snails scene and not after Sandy's crash out, just for pacing. Some other scenes we got was Squidward's interpretive dance, which would have been an alternate version of the already deleted scene with Mr. Krabs and Hudson. I like how both of these scenes are more interesting ways to lead up to the Con Candy scene than the one we actually got using. Also, they ended up reusing this audio slice in the credits.
You know what this needs, though? A little interpretive dance. You know what this needs? A little interpretive dance. Yeah!
We also got a shockingly dark scene of Patrick seeing his uncle dried out on a van. Living the dream. It's so morbid that the only way you can watch this is by paying for the Apple TV release and untangling Apple's convoluted account system just to get it to work on Windows. And at the end of it, you realize that the Apple TV release disables iTunes extras on Windows, so you need to download an old iTunes client from 2020, but uninstall Apple TV because if you have both apps at the same time, iTunes will just disable movies. Apple, what is wrong with you? Oh hey, we're at that scene I told you I would come back to. In an alternative version of the start of the movie, we see Plankton use a dollar to sneak into Krabs' safe by selling Karen and everything else. With how Plankton describes why he's broke, it seems like this would have been inserted after the war scene, and instead of it being a robot in disguise, Plankton would have just been broke. I'm not really happy about this scene, to be honest. It feels almost out of character for Plankton to be this dismissive of Karen as a person. Sure, he can be neglectful and rude to his computer wife, this is what the movie is about after all, but I just don't buy that he would sell her and forget about her. Even when he's replaced her in the show, he realized he was wrong. I think another reason why I'm slightly annoyed by this scene is because we actually get some really good character moments between Karen and Plankton before he sells her. So like, I feel like we had something here. Thankfully, we do get some good character moments between Plankton and Karen in the final movie, so it's not like a lot was lost here. Overall, I'm glad they cut it. This scene's ending also paints a picture for how the first act originally would have started. There's another deleted scene of SpongeBob starting the day, and the ending of the Karen deleted scene shows the Krusty Krab at closing time. So there's a chance we could have gotten a full normalish day for SpongeBob before the formula was stolen. It kinda reminds me of how Sponge on the Run dedicates its first 10 to 20 minutes showing SpongeBob working at the Krusty Krab. I've always enjoyed when movies spend the first few minutes re-establishing the world and having the characters do their status quo uninterrupted before the plot kicks in. It's just fun to watch for me. The only thing preventing this theory of mine from coming to life is the fact that the Getting Ready deleted scene ends with SpongeBob discovering that they're out of patties. So this could take place after the big war instead of before, or maybe we would have seen Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob make some Krabby Patties and establish that this is something they do near daily, who knows? These next two deleted scenes are so similar that I'm going to talk about them at the same time. Their main gimmick seems to be a runner from the Krabs and SpongeBob deleted scene. However, instead of Mr. Krabs telling SpongeBob to just make something, Plankton believes that SpongeBob does know the formula, and his muscle memory can produce a Krabby Patty. Guess how that turns out. I do think these are very fun scenes. I think I prefer the version where the patties blow up over the one where it turns alive, mostly because it's not a one and done. They try multiple times, and you know what? I'm with Plankton on this. I think given enough time, SpongeBob could potentially replicate the formula. It would not be the first time he's made Krabby Patties without it. The Encyclopedia SpongeBobia has a huge list of alternate changes that I can't find proper sources or footage of, so I'll have to take their word for it. Some of these include a scene with SpongeBob infiltrating an angry mob by dressing like them with a fake tat. I actually found a short clip of what I can only assume to be this scene, though also I have no idea where they could have used it. SpongeBob saying, "Clean it up, just clean it up," during the scene where he cleans up the remains of Saturn and Jupiter. Possibly from a trailer, who knows? A shot of Mr. Super Awesomeness' pants ripping, revealing his underwear, with him saying, "Nothing to see here." Yep, I have nothing for that. Mr. Krabs saying, "The pirates are gonna destroy our world!" The wiki has an image of what I can only assume to be from that scene, but I don't know where this came from and I cannot find any footage of it. A shot of SpongeBob saying, "Maybe you should get that checked out," cutting to reveal Patrick has a hole in his head saying, "Why?" Okay, I swear, I remember seeing this scene. Maybe it was in a trailer or a TV spot or somewhere, but I remember it, but I can't find any clip of it right now. So I can only assume either my brain is pulling a trick on me, a Mandela effect if you will, or I'm not crazy and this has just been scrubbed off the internet since I was like 8 or something. It's messing with me. As a bonus, here's some concept art I could find from the movie. Some imply that SpongeBob was originally going to face the apocalypse by himself. Others imply Patrick would have tagged along. Some show the Patty Wagon, some show something completely different. I really wish we got to see more of Bikini Bottom in this state. Because we're following SpongeBob, we only really get to see glimpses of it. And I think that's one issue with the movie having such a tight plot. It would have been so cool seeing more of this world besides small areas or faraway shots of the town in ruin. By having us focus on characters that are being hunted out throughout the movie, we really get to lose out on seeing this new world that they basically created. And while we do get some shots with other characters, for example, Patrick ordering a Krabby Patty, or Sandy coming into the Krusty Krab to tell him about the sacrifice, we really don't get to see enough of it. And I think it's such a huge disservice because, oh my god, this just looks so cool. I also really enjoy seeing the alternate clothing they made for other characters. Dude, Sandy looks so much better here than she does in the final movie. We could have had something. For the superhero designs, I really enjoy seeing the very early concepts. No, not those ones. You can tell the artists were really afraid to change SpongeBob's proportions at the start before deciding screw it, it's great. Mr. Krabs' superhero design? No, I'm not calling him Sir Pinch-a-Lot. Hey, Future Matt here with a little tangent. It just occurred to me that they actually never call him by Sir Pinch-a-Lot in the movie. They refer to every other character by their superhero name at least once. Invincible, Mr. Super Awesomeness, Sour Note, the Rodent, Plankton. But they don't do that with Mr. Krabs. I would argue you wouldn't even know what his superhero name is unless you saw those posters. I guess they forgot. For the longest time, I had a color scheme of red. This can even be seen in the concept trailer for the movie that used test footage. I can see the vision, but I prefer the final design. Also, I like how they sketched out some designs without the robot features until one of them made him a cyborg and they kept iterating on that specific one until he became full robot. Similar designs for Patrick have him in a wrestler getup, which I think is a missed opportunity that would have looked so cool. Some concept art on individuals' portfolios has the Sony Pictures Animation logo, which implies they either assisted development for the final designs, or they were originally contracted to actually animate the movie, which would have looked amazing. I really like seeing concept art of media I enjoy. Gives me a glimpse into what could have been. Despite me believing that Sponge Out of Water has the most deleted scenes, I would say that Sponge on the Run is the movie with the most scrapped ideas and concept art. with completely different visions and ideas of what the movie could have been. That one paints a picture of a troubled development and a movie that suffered from development hell, while the second movie I see more as the team being so creative that they had to physically pull themselves back and make tough decisions for the sake of pacing, and because they made 15 different versions of a single scene. You can tell this team was just super passionate and had fun making this movie, and it shows all over the film. I just love it. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I really love Sponge Out of Water. I respect the movie for being the shot in the arm SpongeBob desperately needed for the time. I respect it for ushering in a new era for SpongeBob the show itself. I adore its art style, story, animation, and their cut content. While I understand why a lot of these were cut, I'm still glad that they're mostly archived, and I mourn the loss of the small bits that I couldn't find. Imagine how many shows or movies you watch that have cut content that was scrubbed from the internet so you can never see it again. This is why I'm big on media preservation and enjoyed looking at lost media. I want to dedicate this final stretch to give thanks to the various sources I used to make this video. The Encyclopedia SpongeBobia for compiling most of these, and even including some video re-uploads of Thank you to the concept artists who have shared their art to their personal blogs or websites, making it really easy to find concept art. Thank you Nickelodeon for inspiring this video as well as making it really easy to find these sources, and for helping me find some specific related scenes. Shout out to Apple for being stupidly annoying to work with. This is why I don't use iPhones. And shout out to the crew of Sponge Out of Water for making the movie. It may not be a perfect film, but it's my favorite. Something feels off. It's just not the same.